Hey yo, this is Renegade Master. Today we're going to be doing another reaction video. um, this video just randomly popped up in my feed. It seemed interesting, so I thought, why not give it a watch? Let me show you what that video is. Oh, okay, there you are. Yeah, so the video is by Nicole, titled "Let's Talk: The Buy Now Pay Later Trap." Why I find this video interesting is because I have used buy now pay later schemes, in particular Afterpay. I usually use it on project. Oh my god! I usually use it on products that are above 800 onwards, as it just helps me manage my cash flow better. Because I got bills and shit. But I usually just treat it like a tool. It's there if I need it. I don't rely on it, and that's how I've always used it, and that's how I thought a lot of people did. But I'm guessing from this title, there seems to be a lot of negative aspects of buy now pay later schemes, and I can see why. It could probably attract the youth and unintentionally make them form bad financial habits. It could, yeah, I think that's kind of the main takeaway for that. So I'm kind of interested in what she has to say. So yeah, let's get into it.
Corey, how do you always look so bougie? How do you always look so nice when you're on a budget? Let me tell you my secret. Credit card debt, Afterpay, Klarna. Is it the most financially responsible? No, but that's okay because the debt will disappear someday.
So imagine this.
I mean, look, I actually kind of respect that. Is it is it the smartest thing to promote? Fuck no, but to each their own. And to be honest, this individual is self-aware. So hey.
You are out to dinner, the check comes, and the waiter mentions that instead of paying for your $50 meal all at once right now, you could
No shot. Wait, are you serious? Are people actually using buy now pay later schemes for like meals?
instead finance your meal by paying in $5, $10 installments over the next few months. What do you say? Do you do it? The question sounds bizarre, and yet this is not some hypothetical. You can actually do this. Yeah, in the past, financing was reserved for big ticket items like a home or a car, both things that I've talked about in recent videos on being house poor and car poor. But these days, you can literally finance your lunch at a restaurant or your DoorDash drinks.
Yeah, that's dank. No, that's... Oh, I did see this actually. It's been going around the YouTube ethos. I think that's the right word to use. A lot of commentary channels I've seen talk about this.
As of this month, with the new Klarna and DoorDash deal, people are literally out here financing their $15 pizzas and their $20 sushi takeout dinners through what's known as buy now, pay later. It's insane to think about, but the trend of buy now, pay later is hotter than ever. 1 out of 5 US consumers have used buy now, pay later, with millennials at the highest usage rate. According to Statista, 56%, over half of millennials have used buy now, pay later for a purchase, and 49%.
Now, besides this, oh wait, hold on. I'll say my stuff later. Wait, this is kind of interesting to statistics here. God, my fucking English is horrible right now. What the hell? But damn, we creeping up low key. Shit. Now, mind you, this, as it states here, this is only for the US. But
done the same.
Could you imagine
oh yeah, this video is based in the US. If I haven't made that clear.
The opportunity to default.
Wait, is this like a setting? Oh, maybe. Fuck, I've been paying it every fortnight, bro. Shit.
On a loan, on a Chipotle burrito in 2025.
You watching this?
I mean, that's just fucking sad though, you know.
Now might have.
Now I wonder these, like, bro, how is how am I able to see those like images, man? Like how are people so like so open to share those images? It just makes them seem like they make poor financial decisions, and I don't know, man. Like that could be me, low key
Used buy
though.
now, pay later before, or at the very least, you've seen it when shopping. It seemingly is this way to spend less money, at least in the moment. Yeah, you'll have some future payments, but the payments are small and they're interest free. Plus, it would be nice to spread out the cost so that you can wait for your next paycheck or two. All around, seems like a win. But as good as this sounds, this video would not be made if it was all good news, you know? Unsurprisingly, there is a whole lot more to this story. So in today's video, let's talk about the good and the bad of buy now, pay later, the psychology behind why we are so tempted by it, and the smart ways that you can successfully use buy now, pay later without falling into a debt trap. But first, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, strawberry.me, for supporting this channel. Their whole belief is that
Okay, let me skip this. My bad. Sorry, Cara.
Go check them out, and a huge thank you to strawberry.me for sponsoring today's video. So like we mentioned before, on the surface, buy now, pay later doesn't sound like a completely bad idea. Interestingly, it stems from a much older idea from the early 1900s called a layaway program. With layaway programs, a customer could reserve a big ticket item like a piano, put a deposit down, and then pay off the item in installments over a set time. Once the final payment was paid, then the customer could pick up their reserved item. Layaway programs like today's buy now, pay later were designed for people on a budget, letting them break up payments instead of paying a lump sum up front. But here is the big difference between the two. With a layaway program, you only get to pick up your item once you've paid off the entire thing. Before that, it's just being reserved for you.
Well, that
but
sounds
with
dope,
buy now,
bro.
pay later,
Well, actually, low-key, I'd actually prefer that. Wait, is that still a thing? Do layaway plans still exist? Hold up, give me a moment. Read my mind, goddamn. Yes, although they are not as prevalent as the ones were. Alright. So I'm guessing it's like, it all makes sense. So you'd probably have to go to the store to set up that type of plan. So I wonder if like popular stores, if you ask them, would they actually set that type of plan up for you? Because okay, that sounds like way better. Because I reckon that would promote just very very smart financial choices. Like instead of burdening yourself by, for example, because I have seen people posting their stories about they just like acquire too much. So for example, they buy a product for X price, and then they, it's the four installments, right? But then because it's so cheap, they add on to it, and it ends up just stabbing them in the back, because then if they miss the payment, they get screwed over big time. But here, it would actually make you be more cautious with your finances, because you'd want to make sure that you can pay it off as quickly as possible.
you get whatever you want to buy.
And then it's not just that you'd pay it off as quickly as possible. You'll also be unintentionally saving instead of wasting,
Immediately. There's literally no waiting or
which then would form better financing habits.
saving for it. That is part of the psychological draw that lures us in. Instant gratification. Our brains prefer to have a reward now rather than wait for some unknown future moment. That instant gratification of impulsively buying something online gives us a dopamine rush that our brains crave. Now, you might not know where that money's going to come from to pay off the purchase, but it doesn't matter. You still get to take it home. The payments are for future.
I can see a lot of youths thinking like that, low-key.
For you to worry about.
Or just like spoiled people in general.
And that right there is the problem. I came across this story of a 26-year-old who fell into $4,000 of debt from using buy now, pay later
Jesus.
platforms like Klarna and VeryPay to fuel her shopping addiction. And this quote of hers stood out to me. Quote,
What the fuck is VeryPay? I've heard of Klarna. Bro. Oh my god, I hate tapping with one hand. First I've ever heard of that, bro.
quote, it feels like free money and makes it so much easier to buy
Yeah. Jesus.
something. Part of why I think this is because buy now, pay later schemes are letting us finance smaller.
But like you have to ask yourself, right? There's always a consequence for everything. How does one just avoid that? How can you like not see that there are repercussions for your actions?
And smaller purchases. Like that burrito clip that I showed you earlier, there are really people out here.
And sure, she may have not understood that it's credit. But like, who in the right mind would just promote free money?
Financing $11 Chipotle burritos. For reference, the average buy now, pay later transaction size is only $135. And my guess is that
What's the
now pay
other
later transaction
stuff? On average, users have borrowed, of course, all their P&L purchases. See, the one thing I was gonna say earlier but didn't is if you were then to apply for a loan, it's not gonna be based on how much is actually left in your buy now pay later account. It's gonna be the whole thing. It's gonna be the limit. So if you have a higher limit, say, what's a reasonable value? Say like 6,000, right? You have to ensure that your income can cover that. Because if it can't, the loan fails. I mean, the serviceability fails, and you're just kind of stuck in limbo.
size is only $135. And my guess is that as this trend gets more popular, the average amount is only going to get smaller. If you think about it, buy now, pay later.
Like there are workarounds. You'd probably have to end up closing that account and etc. etc. But then you lose that credit limit you gathered, from purchasing, over time increasing it. So yeah, it's a bit of a sticky situation.
Works a lot like a mortgage for a house.
That's why it's often, well, it's not promoted, but I'd like to say just to use it as a tool, man. Like get used to the fact that there are consequences for your actions, and that you have to treat your finances wisely. So like what I mean by that is try to always use your own money, the money you actually have available for your purchases, because it makes you make smarter choices, right? But I'm guessing from what I've been seeing so far, a lot of these people it's basically like gambling, and it's not paying off. They clearly probably end up missing payments. They don't have enough in their accounts to fund for the next installment, and it gets tricky because what the side effect of that is obviously your credit score gets a massive hit, because all these buy now pay later schemes, even the ones that aren't associated with banks like Klarna, Afterpay, depending on where you live, they will always report your missed payments. Now the shady thing about most buy now pay later schemes is some of them they won't even promote your activity. Say you made your payments. There's depending on the provider, they might not even show that to the what do I call them? Your credit providers. So like for instance, my credit provider is Equifax, right? So in this scenario, say I joined a dodgy buy now pay later scheme product by a provider, and say I've been using it well, but like if I went to check my credit score, it would still be vanilla. It would still probably be middle of the road, because they weren't showing it to Equifax or the government. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say here?
Pay in installments over time, and in some ways, it's even better than a mortgage because if you pay on
So I'm lucky that Afterpay does a report even my good activities, because I can see it in my credit scores. But yeah, you have to, basically what I'm trying to get at is you have to do your due diligence. The only reason why I occasionally use Afterpay now is because I know that for certain. In my younger years when I was using Afterpay, I was very unsure, and that's why I ended up stopping. Because I realized if I continued that habit, it was probably going to lead to dire consequences.
time, there's no interest. That said, at least with a house, you are financing something that, for one, has a good chance of appreciating in value over time, and two, you feel the weight of that responsibility.
Okay, that's what I was trying to say. I probably said it the most stupidest way possible, but this is what I'm trying to say. You have to feel the weight of the responsibility, and I feel like you can get lost in the sauce if you just constantly depend on buy now pay later schemes.
But with buy now pay later, it's
but the first point is actually this is probably the best point, because most of the purchases we've seen in this video so far, it's a low chance of it actually appreciating in value.
Of that responsibility.
Especially like meals, what I'm trying to get at, meals.
With buy now pay later, it's the same structure applied to stuff that loses value fast. Clothing hauls, a new laptop, tomorrow's food. Spoiler, the food that you eat is not appreciating in value after you eat it. Unless you have a very weird, very rich secret admirer with a unique proclivity, and you yourself have a very open mind. And maybe some plastic bags.
You know what's crazy? Like, even though she's saying that as a joke, it's actually very common. Which is disturbing to think about.
Please do not think about that joke too deeply. Anyways, because these kinds of purchases feel small, we brush them off until all those little payments turn into real debt.
I was just shocked on how much I was
Wait. I think I missed that one. When you're thinking about calling in sick, Jesus Christ, man. Like, how are you brave enough to post this on social media, man? Like, low-key, I kind of respect the openness, the honesty. But low-key, bro, there's just some things you keep to yourself, man. And you heal from them yourselves, if that makes sense.
Turn into real debt.
I was just...
Cause like that's like posting that, right? It's fine, right? Like, I'm trying to think of the context of the person, right? You think it's fine or it's relatable, you know, some people probably say nicer things to you, but what happens when the negativity comes in, you know? Then you just feel even worse than you already did.
Shocked on how much I was adding to the cart. But I'm
spinning through. Yeah, this is dank, bro. Holy.
officially going to be free from them tomorrow after I pay this $340.
Now, before I fully wrote...
That sounded like someone's mom, bro. Shit, bro. I'm finally free. It's kind of sad that she's actually proud about this. About finally being responsible with her finances. Because this will be your reality if you don't fix your shit, man.
After I pay this $340.
Now, before I fully roast the cons of buy now, pay later, it wouldn't be fair to not include what's actually pretty good about them. Like the fact that it really is convenient for budgeting if you use it responsibly. By spreading a payment into equal, smaller installments, you can avoid...
Yeah, this is what I was saying, like...
big cash flow hits to your bank account all at once. Especially for bigger but necessary purchases like a new mattress or a laptop for school. Personally, I think it's better to just pay something all at once if you can, because I truly
Damn, we thinking alike, goddamn.
believe in that idea of don't buy something unless you can afford it twice, and treat things like credit cards.
I have heard about that saying. I forgot who I heard it from. I might have heard it from... Wait, why do I feel like JC said it? Am I tripping there? Well, I'm gonna use two hands this time. Fuck this. Jay-Z. How am I gonna search this up? Don't buy something if you can afford it twice. Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't talking shit. He did say it. Because I remember hearing this a few years ago. It's a good mindset to have. But for me, how I live life is I try to take advantage of the tools at my disposal, right? Because most people don't even know what they are able to take advantage of because they live life with a certain rule set. I've always been about breaking rules, so that's me at least.
Forms like Klarna and Afterpay as if they're debit cards, not free money. Another good thing about buy now pay later schemes is that they are interest free if you pay on time. That is one of their most enticing selling points. The problem is the insane interest rates that hit if you don't pay on time. More on that later. A couple more good things about buy now pay later schemes. One is that it's much more accessible to those who have poor credit scores. Basically, if you have a bad credit score, it can be sometimes tricky to get approved for credit.
So that's where it would get nasty, bro. That's where it would get really bad.
Cards, but buy now pay later platforms are usually a lot less strict. Now, that can be good in a sense because it can make financing more accessible, but also you could argue that it's actually just evidence of how buy now pay later schemes are preying on those who already have a history of struggling to repay on time. The creator That's My Boy Jacob has a funny yet unsettling video posted about the Klarna DoorDash deal and the situation's similarities with the mortgage bubble crisis that's featured in The Big Short.
Do customers ever get rejected?
Wait, that's fucking sick. Man, but this guy's a genius for thinking about that. God damn.
Seriously?
In The Big Short.
Do customers ever get rejected? Seriously? If they get rejected, I suck at my job. Corporate doesn't care. We're just trying to let the people eat, right? Why let them starve to death? We're helping the cause. You don't verify.
So in the original movie, this segment here was in reference to ninja loans. So ninja loans, let me just search this up for you. Ninja loans, I believe, were no income, no assets, no jobs. Or there was also just no income, no asset. So Nina and ninja loans. So the reason why banks in America were promoting this, I think they were since 2005, maybe even before that. But the reason why they were willing to even offer such a product was because the plan was, we'd give you the loan. You just have to focus on making repayments, and when the time is right, you'd have the option of refinancing, or ideally selling the property. So it was like a net positive to the banks at the time. But then issues persisted, such as the existence of CDOs and synthetic CDOs and people betting against the market, and it just got really, really messed up. So the correlation between Ninja or Nina loans and the buy now pay later scheme is the fact that the checks isn't as as thorough in the context of buy now pay later schemes to like credit cards, and with Ninja loans to like traditional loans, like prime loans.
Go follow him, by the way. His videos are great. The last thing I will say about buy now pay later's pros is that sometimes, keyword sometimes, it can help with building credit. But this is only if you are paying on time and the platform is actually reporting your information.
So this is what I was saying.
Which not every buy now pay later platform
And you really need to check if they do.
Is doing. Now those are the good things about buy now pay later. But unfortunately, I think overall it possesses a whole lot more risks than rewards. And if you're not careful, buy now pay later has the chance to royally screw over your life. And here's why. For one, the whole setup is designed to encourage overspending. Micropayments break your full cost into these small, digestible chunks so that your expensive things feel like cheap things. Except they're not. If every time you buy something, you
Jesus, man, that's
don't have to
so degenerate, bro.
feel the full weight of the cost or spend the total amount in the moment, you're gonna easily start piling on more and more expenses. You're gonna trick yourself into thinking that you can afford more than you
Like, I have to say, bro, like, is this supposed to be, like, funny, though? Because it just makes me think you're an idiot, you know?
more and more expenses. You're gonna trick yourself into thinking that you can afford more than you actually can.
Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you.
Take the trend of putting designer brand items
What the fuck was that, bro?
on buy now, pay later plans.
No shot, bro. Are you serious? Even for designers now? Jesus, man.
Doesn't that feel insane?
Hey, GG if you miss a payment, bro. You're fucked, man.
I mean, I know I'm already biased and a bit of a designer brand hater because designer brand stuff is all about flexing culture and I think it's a bit of a waste of money. But to have to put a designer bag on a buy now, pay later financing plan, you know, if you have to do that, there is an overwhelmingly strong
Damn, hey. Okay, I respect
plan.
that. I
You know,
respect
if you have to do that, there is an
promoting the fact that they do afterpay. Hey.
overwhelmingly strong chance that you can't afford and shouldn't be buying that item in the first place. What is so tricky about buy now, pay later is that, kind of like a drug, it makes you feel great at first without making you think about the consequences. You
5-head comparison, bro. Goddamn respect.
can buy and buy to your heart's desire. Those $200 shoes seemingly become $25. That $5,000 vacation you wanted to go on is basically a $300 vacation, right?
Man, I don't even know how people use buy now pay laters for vacations. I don't know. I think it's my ego. It wouldn't allow me to do that, man. I'd feel like such a degenerate.
Wrong. The consequences, they catch up. I know I sound like a angry parent or some lady who works in the DARE program back in the day telling you that you're going to end up behind a dumpster if you even dare to take a sip of Coca-Cola, but it's true. Not the Coca-Cola part, but the consequences of purchases piling up because of buy now, pay later plans. You know, if that wasn't clear. Because what happens isn't just that you
I mean, do I have to even say that anymore? Like, this is just embarrassing, bro.
might buy more things up front, but you could also fall into
And this is so embarrassing. Like, how can you even put your face when you're writing this and showing this, man? That's crazy,
debt
bro.
creep down the line. Let's say that you finance a $120 pair of sneakers. That's $30 for 4 months. Not a big deal, right? But then you do the same for a new $200 coat. Another $50 a month.
Yeah, this was what I was trying to say earlier, but I butchered it so hard.
Then a $90
So hopefully she'll make it sound better for you guys.
skincare haul, $22.50 a month. A $150 standing desk becomes $37.50 a month. And finally, a $75 dinner for you and your friend, $18.75 a month. Suddenly, you are looking at over $150 a month in buy now, pay later payments alone, just from a bunch of small purchases that felt manageable in the moment. And if you miss one of these payments, that is when the real trouble starts.
GG,
sure,
bro.
buy now, pay later platforms give you an interest-free window.
Actually, informative TikTok. Wow.
But if you don't pay in that window, you could be facing aggressive late fees or even looking at interest rates up to 36%. For reference, the average annual credit card interest rate last year was around 24%. And that's already a crazy high and arguably predatory rate. Back to that woman who fell into $4,000 of debt from buy now, pay later purchases, she explains that, quote, one day you look at your account and you realize you owe so much money.
What does that statement even mean, bro? Like, so what were you looking at before, bro? Was it all fun and dandy before? And then one day it just hits you like, oh shit, I'm a dumbass.
This isn't just her either. According to LendingTree, 1 out of 3 buy now, pay later customers have paid late in the past year. And if you're using a platform that reports to credit bureaus,
And you bought an iPhone on Afterpay and cancelled the debit card when you were 15. Oh. Wow. Hey, this is another instance of someone living on the edge. God damn, bro.
your credit score could take a huge hit, making it even harder to apply for other types of loans, which in turn is going to make you more and more likely to rely on things like buy now, pay later schemes. A vicious cycle, my friend, a vicious cycle. And often from what feels like harmless shopping sprees.
I have spent
Jesus
$32,196.23
fucking
on
Christ. How do you even do that? What the fuck, bro? Why would you do that? That's so stupid. Bro, hey, look, sorry about that. I was just baffled, bro. Cause imagine if she tries to get like a loan now. That's going to be added, that whole 32,000. It will be split between Affirm and Klarna, but those would be credits that will be included, and that will be going against her income. So she would have to find a way to service with, if she has any assets and stuff like that. Fuck me, bro. And why is she using these emojis, bro? Why is she so chill about this, man?
Affirm and Klarna since 2022. You can pretty much purchase anything you want almost on Affirm and Klarna.
Maybe some of you
That's dystopian, bro.
might be thinking, that doesn't seem safe for people, right? Like, this is a system that's targeting impulse shoppers and those with tight budgets and those with bad credit history. Really a triple whammy. And it's a system that has aggressive penalties if you don't pay on time.
Okay.
It feels like we're just setting these people up to fail. And you know what? If you're thinking that, I think you're onto something. The buy now,
I mean, a lot of things are, let's be honest.
pay later space is interesting in that it's not very regulated to keep customers safe. Just a couple months ago, the consumer
That's why if you're going to entertain stuff like buy now, pay later schemes, or even just anything in general that may seem like a trap, you have to do your due diligence, because it's fine taking risks in life, but you need to make sure why you take those risks. And I feel like in this video has shown that a lot of these people, they didn't even know what they were risking at all.
Financial Protection Bureau released a report revealing that the majority of buy now, pay later customers had, quote, subprime or deep subprime credit scores. That is fancy
So that's like, I think she's about to say it.
talk for bad credit scores.
Yeah, exactly.
And as Jennifer Chen from Consumer Reports explained,
Deep prime credit scores is like, it would be like closer to 0 than it would be to 500 on the Equifax scale, at least.
quote, buy now, pay later loans fall into a legal gray area that leaves consumers vulnerable to getting tripped up by unfair practices without the protections they get with other forms of credit. You'd think that with all of this, the lack of protections, the debt traps, the credit score risks, that people would be running away from buy now, pay later platforms. And yet, like we said at the start of the video, the opposite is happening. It is hotter than ever, and I do not think it's going away anytime soon. With that,
I mean, the way it's designed is, it's so, like, you kind of have to respect it. It's so easy to use. And, I mean, that's the problem, right? I am also aware that a lot of banks, I'm pretty sure, wait, hold up. I remember seeing this before. Yeah. I'm pretty sure some banks have their own, like, buy now, pay laters. Does ANZ do it? Okay. I mean, if you were to think about it, it'd probably be much safer to do it from a bank, because they will report it, good or bad.
you do
But
to
yeah.
be smart when using buy now,
I still use Afterpay though. I don't think I'm ever gonna change that.
now pay later schemes. One option, the one that I personally pursue, is just avoid them altogether. I'm a big fan of credit cards personally. I like the protections and the rewards, though I treat credit cards as if they're a debit card, meaning I only spend money that I know I can afford, that I have
Yeah, my mom told me that.
available. I make sure I have an
So I got lucky in that regard.
emergency fund, and I pay off the balance completely every single month. And if I do need a bigger purchase, I save for it over time. Old school budgeting, set aside the money every month until I can afford whatever it is that I need. Yes, it means having to practice delayed gratification, and yes, it is not as dopamine inducing, I get it, but it also means not having to deal with debt spirals or the stress of wondering how many payment plans
Get this
have
TikTok out of my
floating
face, bro.
there in the ether right now.
Bro, this one's actually pissing me off, bro.
Now, if you do decide to use buy now, pay later schemes, I would say use them very carefully. Make sure that you can afford whatever you're buying. Be sure to automate your payments so that you never miss an installment. And as much as you can, practice intentional buying. Impulse shopping is so easy to fall into, and online retailers are only making it easier with things like buy now, pay later options. But
Bro, fucking TikTok acting is one of the things I fucking hate the most, bro. Just the over exaggeration and stuff like that. It's like so cartoonish, man.
do not let yourself be controlled by this kind of mindless spending. You know how there's always talks of practicing self-care? This is one way that you can actually practice self-care for
Yeah, because in my honest opinion, it's like finances is like 50% of your life, right? The other 50% is your health. So if you fuck up your finances, bro, like shit, man, what's it gonna do to your health is the question.
yourself by being intentional with your money and protecting your financial health. That right there is real self-care. But what do you guys think? Have you guys used buy now, pay later platforms, or do you know someone who has used them? What's their experience been like? What's your experience been like? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and what topics you want to see me cover next.
Okay, it's pretty much over here. I mean, honestly, I'm glad I watched that. That was really good. I hope that can, if a lot of people who watch this didn't really understand, I guess the depth of buy now, pay later schemes, I hoped this reaction of Cara and Nicole's video helped. But yeah, I think that's about it, guys. So I'm gonna end it here. Peace.